Call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to
the Republic
which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay, everybody's had a chance to look at the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make that a motion to approve the agenda.
Sorry, I was muted. I'd like to make one change. We'd cross out action item number 6.
Tell me which one that is.
It's the court-appointed attorney contract.
Okay. That'll come.
Another one too I'm questioning is the addition of the brief regular meeting session for administrator updates. I thought we did that here a while back.
Yeah, it's just on there. That's fine.
Oh, okay.
Just a reminder.
We don't need to take, yeah, all right.
That's not action.
Question I had is with this court-appointed attorney business, that'll come at a later.
Go in a different direction. We're going to do it as a as needed basis rather than a contract.
But each time we have to have a contract? We have to do an RFP each time, or?
No. There's a process within the court, because even with the contracted service, we occasionally have to reach beyond that attorney to use somebody else if there's a conflict and things. So they're just going to use that procedure to tackle things this year. It'll kind of reset what our cost basis is for that, and give us a better understanding of those costs and allow some flexibility in scheduling.
So it isn't going to be a budgeted item, it's going to be something that's ongoing?
I mean, it's still a budgeted category and still an ongoing, it's still an expense we have to cover. It just won't be a single contract with a single law firm.
How do we know how much to put into the budget?
Well, we'll use the
Figure?
past expenses for the figure. Yep.
Okay.
Then do we have a list of attorneys that we do this with, and we pick a different one each time, or?
Yeah.
When an RFP comes in, how do we pick, if we don't have a contract, how do we pick the attorney?
It goes to the district. Let me see the name of the office.
Well, this is something we could discuss at a workshop too, so to get the details on this.
Yeah, the district-wide case processing team reaches out to the qualified attorneys and picks who's available.
Put that on the for our workshop there, Jeff, for next week. All right, there's been a motion made. Was there a second? I don't.
Hey, that's second.
Okay, Teresa seconded. Any more discussion? If not, we'll proceed with roll call.
Mm-hmm.
District 1?
yes,
2?
Yes.
3?
Yes.
4?
Yes.
And District 5 is joining us now. So.
Morning, Greg.
Morning, everybody. Sorry.
We just made a motion to approve the agenda, so are you on board to approve the agenda?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Say yes.
Yes, please. Yes.
All right, motion passes. Greg joined at 9:30.
All right. Now we'll move on to approving the minutes of the August 4th board meeting and workshop session. Everybody had a chance to look at those. Is there any additions or corrections? If not, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve. I read through all of them, so.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
no discussion, we'll proceed with roll call.
District 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5.
Yes.
Passes.
Now we'll do the August 11th board meeting minutes. Everybody's had a chance to look at those. If there's no additions or corrections, there a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second. Jack.
No further discussion, we'll proceed with roll call.
District 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5.
Yes.
Pass.
Now we'll do August 18th board meeting minutes and workshop session. If there's any,
I did read through them all, so I'll make the motion to
we
approve.
count on Teresa to verify all those, so that's good. Well, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second? All right, Jack seconded it. Being no further discussion, we'll proceed with roll call.
District 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5.
Yes.
Pass.
Okay, we'll move on to public comment. Is there anybody on that would like to have a public comment? If not, we'll proceed with the COVID-19 update from Public Health. I don't know, is Heather going to do that or not, Jeff?
I don't see any public health on, so I just had that on as a placeholder.
Yep.
So in absence of that, I would just say that Heather did just send out an update to the board this morning addressing some changes in the data that the state is presenting, and it ties to the case rate calculations for the school districts to look at. So what I would encourage each of the commissioners to take a look at that and just understand that the data coming from the state now is going to change slightly to be a little bit more focused on the school decisions. And as they do that, there might be some overlaps in numbers and things, and you know, our cases are so low that one discrepancy kind of stands out in that. So they'll be working hard with the state to make sure the data stays current and accurate.
Yeah, this has to do with the zip code data, and
Yep.
I talked to Heather about this last night. She called about some guidance on that, or what I thought about it. But what it is they're providing a link on their Facebook page to look at this through it's a Minnesota Department of Health data link to look it up. So for people, just so they're being transparent and to get that out there for people who wish to look that up. So
You need to have a lot of patience to go through that because there's a lot of data.
I did.
I don't know if you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did look at the links this morning, just checking out the La Crescent zip code. And you're right, there's page after page but there was nothing for La Crescent listed yet.
We're still stressing the fact that COVID-19 doesn't have an address, so we all should approach this as it's all over, that we need to take our precautions as usual.
Yeah.
Because a lot of this data is old. It's already
Okay.
10 days old, so it really doesn't, I don't see any value in it myself, but this is what MDH is doing, so. And our health department just wanted to be transparent to show people that it's out there if they wanted to look at it, so.
I did listen to the governor's report or the Department of Health report yesterday at 2, and it's because I was real concerned with the effects of Sturgis so far, and they only have Minnesota cases that were related to Sturgis, and there were 27 of them and that went home to their families, so they're expecting more could arise from that, but they don't have it for any of the other states. They don't have the information.
I've s-
The latest numbers I looked at that for Sturgis is that they had almost 500,000 people out there in attendance, so.
Yeah,
I've seen, Minnesota about 27 cases. South Dakota has 20, 30 cases. Montana has, so they're slowly spreading out, and it's over the next, week or so is when those tests will turn back. So that number will continue to climb. But right, to Eric's point, kind of small so far considering how many people were at the event.
There's some.
All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Everybody's had a chance to look at that. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, or is there anything somebody would like to pull out and put on? Go ahead, Bob.
I just got 2 questions before I do that. On that Woods psychiatric services, is that the only service available, or do we have to do an RFP?
My understanding is that's the only available. And is a switch because the provider that we contracted through Hiawatha Valley has a separate practice now. So,
It's the same person, just.
same person, just a different company.
Curious if we had to do anything like an RFP for that type of service, or if this is all it's there. Second question was with regard to the donation to the Sheriff's Department. What is less lethal? I mean,
I don't know the specific equipment they're putting it towards. I know in the budget for this year, they had one of the sheriff's line item budget was for, I think it was 4 sets of it's basically a beanbag shotgun, a less lethal option.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's beanbag guns, or I don't know if they got the rubber bullet ones, but it's something like that. Yep.
okay. I just was curious who made the determination and if the donation had any strings attached to it for what is less lethal. All right, that's all I had.
I assume the 67-day employee is to replace Nikki.
Yes.
The drop site worker, that's just the weekends guy?
This is actually an election employee.
Okay. Sorry. Thanks, Carol. Yep.
Yeah, this
Oh,
is for the fall election, the college complete.
go ahead, Donna. We didn't hear that.
Yeah, this is for the, replace the college students that they leave for the fall election in November.
Okay. Okay. Just wanted to know which one's which here. So, trying to keep it straight.
so did we replace Nikki at the door?
No.
We haven't yet specifically. The one of the 2 that were hired for elections has been helping down there.
Okay.
So, yeah. And it's time, I think, to reevaluate that as we have the license center open up, and we'll still use an appointment system, but I think we can probably take a look at whether it's time to open the door and just use the appointments to control flow.
Okay.
Yeah, to me, if we got the mask mandate, I don't see the point in keeping the doors locked. All right, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed with roll call.
District 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
Passes.
All right, we'll move on to action item number 1. Consider approving motion to eliminate the comprehensive major medical plan option based on low enrollment and contract. Tess, are you going to take care of that one?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. The little historic perspective, we used to have 3 comprehensive major medical plans, 3 different deductible rates. Through negotiations, we eliminated 2 of those, replaced them with what's termed a comprehensive, consumer-driven health plan with an HSA and VIVA associated with it. It was done in part to control the volatility, which it's done, of our premiums. Each of our contracts have, we negotiated out this last plan, and all of our contracts except for our LELS. The LELS contracts have in them a language that should the enrollment drop below 10 persons in any during the calendar year, that the management of the county has the may get rid of it. And at current time, we're at about 3, I think it's 3 people in it. This plan actually last year drove our rates up. I believe it was responsible for driving our rates up 7%. So we really are looking at getting rid of this plan. We have to give the union notice by September 15th. One of the reasons we hung on to it was because of the some of the pharmaceutical coverage that it had in it. Since that time, though, the other CDHP covers the area of biggest concern, which was insulin, as a part of its wellness coverage. So that's not an issue anymore. So we're looking to, through this planned phase, now clean that up as well and have the single plan going forward. This does not impact the 49ers plan.
Are there any more questions on this matter? Greg?
Can like the Houston County employees go on like a union insurance? Can we get insurance for our employees through the union?
Commissioner, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that very well.
Can we get insurance through the union for our people in the county?
Through which union? The 49ers union?
Yep.
We could through a competitive bid process if they've not expressed an interest in wanting to bid in that, go through that RFP, but certainly we could issue, go through a formal RFP process, which they would be part of that, could submit a proposal. Currently, our RFP is done by through Southeast Service Cooperative, and they haven't submitted proposals at that time. I did ask about this recently if they would be interested in submitting an RFP, and they said no. Or submitting a proposal to an RFP, and they said no.
Isn't the city of Caledonia, didn't they switch theirs to the union, Bob?
Yep.
And they saved quite a bit of money, I was told.
Yep.
I'm not sure what process they went through, but when I checked this out with the insurance, the rules on with regards to insurance plans, they're required to go through a formal RFP and bid process. Now, that is not required if we're just looking at negotiating that insurance for the union itself. But if we're looking at going to coverage beyond that particular union, the 49ers, then we're required, it's my understanding, to go through the regular process that all insurance companies are required to go through because it's outside the union.
So test this contract. We're in a 3-year contract with Southeast, right?
I'd have to see where we are in the RFP process with them. I think they just, there is a cycle, and I can't say for sure where that cycle is. We're not in a 3-year contract with them, but we are in a, I mean, we can change and leave Southeast Service Cooperative anytime we choose to. That's not an issue.
All right. I didn't know.
The RFP for us the last time as a collective, and the bid that was successful at that time was the Blue Cross Blue Shield. I'd have to find out when the next bid process is.
Well, maybe that's something we need to look into, is doing an RFP. I mean, it wouldn't hurt just to see what we got for bids out there, if there's any,
I'll have to
competition or.
get information together for you. It would not be effective for 2021. We're too late into the process for that, too late into the calendar for that. We have annual enrollment coming up in October. But for future years beyond 2021, certainly we can check into that and bring all the information back to you.
Okay, let's get back to dealing with the issue at hand here with the, we need a motion to eliminate this CMM option.
Based on what Tess has told us and the fact that we only have just a couple of people involved with it, I'll make a motion to approve the removing of that plan.
I'll
Is there a
second.
second?
I'll
Jack
second.
seconded. Any more discussion? If not, we'll proceed with roll call. Jeff, you want to do that, or am I going to do that?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I slipped and hit my mute button. District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
You're on mute, Eric.
No? Can't you hear me?
Now I can.
now you can. Try
Yes,
that again.
Yes.
District 2, yes. District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
passes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Now, we'll move on to action item number 2. Consider approval of the resolution for acceptance of contract 2020-05 for Sir Lines-A-Lot, which is an interesting name, by the way. For Brian.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. So this is
Sounds like Sir Lies-A-Lot, but whatever.
for lines. There's an there. So, yeah, so Sir Lines-A-Lot did the pavement markings for us this summer. They did the crosswalks and the center lines, a little bit of fog lines around the county. Original contract amount was $116,277. Final work certified $117,571.98. Essentially, they were slightly over the original amount approved, but very similar to overall totals. So, recommendation is to approve the final of the contract.
Anybody have any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? If not, we'll proceed with roll call.
District 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
and 5,
Yes.
passes.
Now we'll move on to action item number 3, authorization to execute the Minnesota DOT grant agreement for the airport improvement. Brian?
Yes. So a couple weeks ago, the board approved the contract to do some crack filling on county roads and at the airport. With how MnDOT Aeronautics likes to do things, the grant agreement comes after the contract's been approved. So in this case, MnDOT Aeronautics grant agreement is for 70% of the work that will take place at the airport, which is anticipated to be $10,200 at the airport. 70% of that would be a $7,140 grant from MnDOT Aeronautics, and then the local cost would be $3,060. So this contract was already approved. This is to get some state funding to help for the county's portion.
And that's all this is, right? It's nothing to do with the future plans or anything.
Correct. Yep. Just maintenance of the runway.
Anybody have any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any more discussion? If not, we'll proceed with roll call.
District 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
and 5.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to action item number 4. Consider approval of purchase of 10 poll pads with the Election Cares Act grant dollars. Donna. You gotta unmute, Donna.
I'm sorry. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Morning.
What's that? Good morning. This grant would allow the county to purchase 10 more poll pads, which would control the total.
Donna, you're going to have to reposition your micro thing. You faded out in a way.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
That's better.
Yep.
Okay.
Don't move.
Okay. The 10 poll pads will fulfill the ability for Houston County to there are a couple smaller precincts that we probably will not be able to reach out to because there just is no service at all. So I'm not, at this time, the 33 will be the total of poll pads that we will have for Houston County. These 10 poll pads will hopefully the CARES Act grant that the county will receive for elections amounts to $10,000. The calculations that I have is that the county will have to pay out of there with a match, with a 25% match, $3,200. And Jeff and I have talked about this, and I believe the other CARES Act money would be that we'd have to
I'm sorry, Donna, but you're cutting in and out. So maybe
Yeah.
Jeff, you want to fill us in on this?
let me pull up the numbers here real quick and try and jump in and cover that instead. So 10 poll pads and hang on, I'll pull up Donna's email here. The cost on the 10 poll pads is $12,895. The elections grant would cover 75% of that, and leaving 25% for the county to pay. And I think that we can probably use the county regular CARES Act money to cover the county portion of that.
I think we could too. I think that would qualify as an expense for that CARES Act money. So
yeah. So, and as she was saying, these 10 poll pads take the county to 33 of them, and that only leaves two precincts that would not have poll pads supporting their precinct, and both of population count as far as registered voters, and are both in an area that does not have cell service, internet access, etc. So they wouldn't be very effective in those locations anyway.
right.
But the rest of our precincts would then have poll pads and a couple access, and that should make the whole process go a little smoother.
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay, if there's no other questions on this, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion?
Is there training on this? Is there training to the election judges on how to use them?
I hope so.
Yes, there is. I just found out last week, they said it would probably be remote training, which, us, and whether or not we'd have to get them in here to train, we might have to, because I know how it's been with the online training. It's not been real successful. So we might have to get the judges in the courthouse to train them after we get trained for them.
Okay.
Just because we have poll pads doesn't alleviate the need for the judges. I mean, we're still gonna have election judges.
Oh, yeah. This just replaces the roster eventually. I mean, I don't know if they'll still have the roster or not for the first time around here, but.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, I think we need both the first time around.
Agreed.
I think it'll work pretty slick once people get trained on them and realize how good they work. Hopefully it's better than Zoom lately, so.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Well, if there's no other, Greg, you got something?
For these machines, they're going into like Wilmington. They share with Winnebago and Eitzen.
Hmm.
So are they all three going to have this machine then to put into their townships, or?
Yes, they will all have to have each their own machine, because it has to be programmed specifically for their precinct.
Okay, then so you have to have internet in your town hall, correct?
Well, there are some things that's called like a hotspot. I'm not sure how that's going to work yet. When we get our training, we'll find out a little bit more about it.
So Greg, where do you guys meet now?
Well, they meet there at the Wilmington Town Hall for all their meetings, but we have to go to Eitzen for our elections. So we get this.
If you go to Eitzen, I'm sure they'll have Wi-Fi there if we need that, but
can we have that election in our town hall if we have that and it's all wired in?
For the town halls, like for the township elections,
you'll still have to have the machines there, the ballot counter and the other one. So you'll still have to do the shared polling places, Greg. So that's not going to change. It's not going to change anything. It's going to change is the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, we won't have the roster. We'll just use the poll pad. So. Okay. All right, we've had a motion and a second.
Yep.
No further discussion. We'll proceed with roll call.
District 1.
Yes.
District 2.
Yes.
3.
Yes.
4.
Yes.
And 5.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Okay, we'll move on to number 5. Consider approval of the 2020 budget amendments. Carol?
I will go ahead, Carol. I'll share my screen and see if people can see them.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so, basically what this does is adjust our current year budget for items that we know are changing. The PERA rate increase aid, actually legislature allowed that to sunset after 2019, so we're not going to get that for 2020. The insurance refund, we were notified by MCIT of how much it would be. That's where the project account, that's where the commissioner said that money would go to projects. So that amount is also decreased. The economic development tax abatements are the ones the county votes on. It's like typically a 10-year abatement. I think we had a discussion not long ago about these, but we had $45,000 in our budget, and based on the amount of taxes that they pay, and they get 50% of it or 75% depending on what year they're in. We're not paying out that much this year, so that's adjusted. The county board approved the additional 14.4 to go to soil and water, taking it out of the other professional and technical fees in the commissioner's budget. Then of course, finance had the FTE change. There was just a slight correction in the recorder's office for the Social Security and Medicare. There was a switch between the FTEs of the veteran service support and the extension support. They both moved to 0.75 rather than one being half-time and one being full-time. And then the changes with regard to those are just lump summed. I can't give you individual department changes because that would be allow you to determine, who has what type of health insurance, which isn't information that should be shared. And then Road and Bridge and Human Services also have the PERA rate increase aid that Sunset did. Then there was an additional small budget amendment for the recorder's office, which actually offsets then the additional expenditures that they've had in the first 6 months of the year that are using their the technical equipment funds, so that it's not actually using levy money. That's kind of a rundown of what we have there.
So the amount of changes amounts to $30,424.
Yes.
Okay.
And more towards the end of the year, we'll be reviewing revenue line items, which will pretty much probably offset this. Prior to ending the year, we review pretty much everything to make sure that we're not understating our revenues. Keeping in mind that we do have a budget deficit in the general fund of $279,000 or so. Road and Bridge and Human Services each have that also. So towards the end of the year, we go through that and see where we're actually going to end up. And usually we end up not having a budget deficit.
Okay.
Carol?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a question on the top, there's PERA rate increase aid, which has been eliminated apparently.
It was.
Okay, and then down below, it's PERA rate increase aid reduced again.
If you look at the first two numbers, the 01 is the general fund, the 10 is Road and Bridge, and 11 is Human Services, Public Health and Human Services.
Okay.
It was distributed to each of the funds based on the difference between the PERA rate of 2001 and what we currently paid for people who are on the coordinated plan. And they gave us a portion of that back, but like I said, the legislature allowed that to sunset now. So they increased our CPA and they decreased our PERA rate increase aid.
It's worthy to note that the insurance refund from MCIT is down to $65,000. At one point, it was up to $95,000 here a couple years ago. So that kind of tells me that they have a lot more claims.
Right. And at the Finance Committee meeting this morning, I did talk about, we received our notification of premiums for next year. And let's see, let me pull that up. Oh, it already. Well, each one increased to between $15,000 and $17,000. So, yes, there are more claims. Our rates are going up, and our refund is going down.
Yep.
Eric?
Yes.
Yeah, I would mention that at AMC last time I went to that meeting for MC, excuse me. And they were talking about it being kind of shaky coming up because they were getting additional claims, and so it was an increase was imminent back last year already.
Yep. And it's a combination of a lot of factors too, you know. So there's a lot more litigation too in the court systems with land use and all that too, so. Anything else?
That's it for
If
now.
not, is there,
I'll move to approve the budget changes.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? If not, we'll proceed with the roll call.
District 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
and 5.
Yes.
Passes.
All right, we eliminated action item number 6, so we can move on to discussion items, administrator updates.
All right, just a couple things for the whole group. By way of update, total finance committee this morning, we have right around 80 applicants for the business assistance grants. Sharing those.
Jeff, can you take the graph down?
Yep, absolutely.
Thank
Find
you.
the mouse, and there we go. Okay. So about 80 applicants so far. Allison is still taking a number of phone calls, so they're still trickling in, and we'll continue, I think. Overall, pretty good look at the applicants. There's a couple of little technical questions that we'll have to go to with the EDA board to kind of work out, and then a few that we'll put in the iffy category that the EDA board will discuss. And then once I have those through the EDA board on the 2nd of September, we'll bring them to the next county board for the board's approval. So overall, that's going pretty well. Hoping to shift focus from that and put together the overall spend plan for the CARES Act. So I still owe that to you, and hopefully we'll have that ready for board discussion at the next workshop. But working towards that. Got some meetings set up on Thursday with the finance committee to do some budget reviews, kind of deep dive into some of those questions, and then on the next work group session with the board, we'll do a budget review with the whole board at the workshop session. So that's in a nutshell what's going on.
Bob, did you meet with the Carol and the finance group with your questions?
We're going to meet Thursday morning.
Okay.
I've got 3 pages of questions, and we didn't have time to go through them all this morning. So
Okay. And will we have that information before our next work group so we are aware what we're looking at?
hopefully.
Hopefully, okay.
Still some budgets that aren't quite done either, I'm thinking, so. we
Looks
gotta-
like the sheriff isn't in yet.
Yeah, his is into Carol now, and so she's going through that. So we have his. We should have Public Health and Human Services this week. So we're getting close on initial budgets, anyway.
We can go on to commissioner reports. Bob, you want to finish what you were started already?
Yeah, well, we looked at finance with regard to where the current budget is at. thus far this year through July and discuss that. Then Greg and I have received the budget requests from most of the departments. We don't have Health and Human Services. We don't. Carol's got, but we don't have the Sheriff's Department. Those are two big ones. And so we're going to discuss what we've got on Thursday morning, and maybe we'll have those others for discussion as well. So that's up. That's coming up. With regard to other things, I've been attending the collaborative meetings with the schools and whatnot, as far as what their schedule and their plans are, especially with dealing with community education as far as the issues going on around the country as far as race issues and whatnot. So what their plans are, and the school's talking about what their schedules are like. I mean, every school district's got a different start date and a different plan. But talking about that, as far as parks are concerned, the park committee, Dick and I, Jack, we didn't ask you to come down to Boccia Park, but
No, that's fine.
the sign is basically ready, and we'll get the final review of that so that we can get going on the grant to get the monies to pay for the sign and take care of that. One question I did have, and that this will come from somebody else, is the building committee on the county shop and how that's looking as far as changes in what's being done to address the cost on that. So whoever's got that report, I'll look forward to hearing that. That's all I got.
Teresa?
Last week I initiated a meeting with Aaron and Rick Frank and Jeff, Greg and I to start a process of looking at that solid waste fees. Eric and Jeff had some figures ahead of time. I had some that I had written down, but we get about $360,000 from the township assessment for the household fees. We get about 140 from fees that we receive, and no, we get about 120 from fees, and we're using about 140 from our budget. But we did discuss that we're a service, and we're thinking about, and Greg and I'll bring it up, Aaron is gathering more figures from neighboring counties and counties our size as to what they're doing. We do realize we're a service and we're not making money on it, but if we can increase what we get through household fees, that's one consideration we're looking at. So we started a process.
Anything else?
Well, just a question to Teresa. The only thing, I understand the service aspect, and we're not looking to make money, but I'm also concerned that we don't have one or two users that I would say overuse or exploit the service we offer, and then the rest of us that don't use it at all supplement or help pay for what they're doing. I hope that comes into the discussion.
It does. It does. We realize that we did not, it did not cost us that much. I think we had $620 like from that we ended up paying in excess to townships cleaning up their ditches, that type of deal. So we realize the user fee is, fair right now.
Anything else, Teresa?
No.
Jack, you got something?
I lose track of when we had meetings. Eric and I got together with Tess on some union issues, and we were meeting today. And I did get a return call actually from on my district issue on the no wake on the West Channel. The La Crosse mayor actually called me back, and I missed his call, so I need to get back with him, and I don't know how optimistic I am as to what will be said, but other than that, I don't have anything significant that hasn't been covered. I would mention on a personal note, I had a doctor appointment yesterday, and he again told me just to stay away from kryptonite. That apparently Superman had run into a pocket of it in Houston County, so that's about it.
That only affects Superman.
That's right. Don't worry.
That's why you're looking a little greener on the gills.
Greg, you got anything?
Bob covered the financing and Teresa told about solid waste. I guess there isn't, we're just waiting for some figures and then we'll move forward.
I had a Crooked Creek watershed meeting here last Friday down at South Fork Lake. First time I've ever been there. It's pretty cool down there. So, and at the discussion they had there, they made a decision. I know I think I mentioned it to you guys last meeting that the federal NRCS shot the engineering plans that the regional people did for this watershed project. They shot it full of holes and didn't like how it was done and had some different ideas, and that was to apply for that grant of $187,000 they were going to get if they can get approval of that. Well, it doesn't look like they're deciding not to go that route, and they're going to pay that money themselves. They'll still get the $352,000 from Root River Watershed District, one watershed plan. So they're going to cover the rest of the cost with their own funds. That'll kind of drain them, but they have the money to do it, and they want to get this project moved forward. And they're really comfortable with the plans that they have come up with. The DNR has wrote off on it. They're happy with it, and their engineers are confident with the plans that they have to construct this, so they're just going to move forward. So that's what they decided last time at last Friday's meeting. I asked them if they would like to see a resolution by us as a county board to affirm their decision to move forward with this, and they said that would be appreciative. So I think we should try to work up a resolution to support them in their decision and what they're doing. So at the next regular meeting, we could have that ready to vote on.
Good.
And then, go ahead, Greg.
Is this being built for sure? Do you know where this is going to be built at?
I didn't hear that.
Which area are they putting this big dam in? Or where's the dam going to be put?
It's on the Klinsky property. They're in, oh God, what's the name? Yep. Yep. It's a watershed. It's like a 1,000-acre watershed, and it's really, I don't know if you've been up. You probably haven't. I know Bob and I walked up through there, and it's really cut and really it's done a lot of damage. So they need to get something done. So, and that would help downstream too with Freeburg and all that. So they told me the South Fork Lake saves Freeburg, so I can see why. That's a pretty big structure. So, and it's in good shape. It does its job still. So.
When you guys get this one in, you'll save Freeburg. Little Miami.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to save Little Miami down there. So. And then yesterday we had a River One Watershed District meeting, and it was done by Zoom, and it was a disaster. Half the people couldn't talk or hear, and Dwayne Bakke is the chairman, and he got cut off 3 times and had to get back on, and it didn't go well, but we struggled through it and got through it, made a few minor amendment changes, and Paul Fritke was there to give an update on what they decided for the Crooked Creek watershed project, because they asked about that, because that's going to be the first thing that one watershed district is going to do, is to do that project. That's their first project to put on the ground. So
Good.
we scheduled another meeting, and we're going to try to do that in person somehow, outside or something like that. So
Well, there's they have one on site.
yeah. As far as the highway shop project, we're still waiting with Weezer Brothers on some of the details of that. I did get a hold of the sheriff and talk to him about having Craig with his group of workers there to Sense to Serve, if they could tear down that pole shed for the impound shed that we're going to have to move to make room for the salt and sand and rock shed. So I haven't had a chance to talk to Craig yet. I'm just curious as if that's the Craig that's on the phone here, but
No,
That's
No.
Craig Moorhead,
different one.
newspaper. Yep.
Oh yeah, that's okay. That's right. All right. Anyway, I'm going to talk to him and get a hold of him, and ask him if he wants some more details. It sounded like he was interested in doing that. He just needed more details on that.
Okay.
Bob?
I'm going to go take a look at the building and see what it's going to take to move it to.
That's the building that's on the back side of the property. What about the building that's at the end of East South Street where you come into that piece of property that we acquired, that tin shed?
Yeah, we'll have to move that eventually, and I suppose there's nothing stopping us on doing that. So I'll talk to Brian about the timing of that.
I think that's something that we're not going to save. We're just going to tear down. I would think we could tear that down ourselves too. I know I've talked to Pat about this, and they'd be willing to do that. They just need to do it in between jobs here. So Weezers are going to construct do the landscaping and the pad for the impound shed where it was going to be relocated. So that's being figured in. And the sheriff brought up to me too that he was wondering if we could add on to that shed somehow, which wouldn't be hard to do because it's a pole shed. You could just buy some more rafters and tin and add on to it, just to make room for the boat that they use in the summertime on the river, and the UTV vehicle that they have. So, just add on another 20 feet or whatever, just to make room for those two pieces. And I don't think that would be a problem. But we can discuss that some more in further detail with Brian and that. So
I'll talk to the sheriff about that. The be a good place to stick the posse vehicle too in the winter.
Yep. Bob?
Oh, we got a couple more questions. One is for Jeff. Did we ever send a letter to the Corps of Engineers expressing the county's opinion with regard to not having the lottery this fall?
I have not. Donna's on here. I'll check with her.
I'll write the letter if you want. That's not a problem.
No.
We should get it taken care of.
Yep. I'll make a note to get that taken care of here in the next day or so.
With regard to the schedule for today, I've got a CJCC meeting at noon. Then at 1:00 is that Houston Fillmore County meeting. I know Eric and Jack aren't able to go to that or to Zoom into that. In looking at the contract and everything, is that a standardized contract? I mean, I read through it, but that's just a standard contract that we've had with them over the prior years?
I believe so, Bob.
So there's no problem.
Are you able to make that, Bob, Teresa, and Greg?
I can,
1:00 today?
yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I planned on it.
So then we'd have a quorum there for Houston County.
Yeah.
We'll do it. All right. Then another question, and this is for the waste or the recycling committee. Are we looking at extending the lease for the site or doing something different? That contract ends at the end of the year.
With the Caledonia site,
The Caledonia site, yeah, sorry.
we didn't bring that up at this point. At one time, Brian had mentioned we could possibly use some of the acreage that we just purchased to move the site to, but I haven't pursued that.
Till we do the site work and whatnot. I
Yeah,
don't know if we're gonna have time, if we can do a 1-year lease or what, but I don't know if we're gonna have time to get that.
that was the last consideration, a 1-year lease.
I
Curiosity.
think Comstock would go along. I think he'd lease it, so
It's expensive.
but I don't think you're gonna get time to move it this year.
No.
Just curiosity. That's all I had, questions.
Just an update. I think there's been 93 applicants as of. I just got an email from Allison, I believe, saying there's 93 so far. So they're still trickling in. So.
Yeah, is that, as far as that goes there, kind of scanning it, I didn't see some that I would have anticipated being on there. I'm not sure why, but given the number and what we may have anticipated, it would seem to me we will have quite a bit of money left.
Yeah, well, it's looking like we'll have a second round, and so we could decide what we want to do there in the second round as far as letting in nonprofits and such.
Right. Okay.
Have we done anything with the west door for getting bids and getting it in?
I know we had some quotes, some prices. It hasn't moved past that yet. Yeah, we're gonna have to. That'll be when we lay out all the CARES Act potential projects. Then we can see if that meets the board's priority list to put CARES money towards.
Can you explain to me, and I don't know, what is the west door project? And what are you looking at?
Yeah.
That's the sliding door, the new sliding door to replace the open up door, handicap door.
So it's replace it with a automatic sliding door.
Yeah, that's what Greg has requested. Looking broader, we've had some discussion about and have an estimate of about $180,000 to rearrange the parking lot and the whatnot out in front. So it's a matter of if we do it all in one big project or if we separate it out into a smaller and a.
Well, I think we should door and a little work right outside the door and forget about the parking lot for now. That way we can get this paid on the stairs.
Yeah, the problem with involving the parking lot expense is we got to get city approval on all that, don't we?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's going to be kind of tough to do to get it done in time. But on that sliding door, do you need to have a vestibule to accommodate that door? I mean, if we do that, we're going to have more room. It'll extend out into the street. I don't know.
Right.
Like a canopy out over the outside, you're talking?
Well, it's an partial enclosure there, whatever. But I think with Tess and Jeff, they should get working on that.
Yep. Yeah, Tess dropped off here. I think we had one option where the door can go on the building as is without moving out, and then but it would be better to have a vestibule for wind protection and all that. So like you see on buildings with a double door, but we'll.
When do you think we'll see this list, Jeff, of the remainder of the CARES Act money that we could use?
I'm hoping to have it ready for next week at the work group session.
Okay.
Well, round one, we had enough money in round one, using half of it for up to 260 applicants, $5,000. So we've got 50% that we didn't ever allocate, plus we've got whatever's going to be left over from the first round. So I don't envision any issue as far as finance.
No, we just need to have a list of what we're going to use that other 50% for.
And I've talked several times with the city with regard to what we're proposing with regard to moving the sidewalk and changing the parking lot and whatnot. So they're not unaware of it. It's just that we'd have to go through the public hearing process and whatnot, and it would take time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want, we could move forward with getting approval from the city and do the public hearing process without doing any of the work, so we're ready if we want to do something next year.
Well, that probably would
But
be,
we won't be able to use that money though to pay for it.
No,
I don't think
probably-
we're able to anyways. I don't know.
but their parking lot probably wouldn't fall under the CARES Act, I bet. Probably not. So we could just get the door and maybe a little bit of sidewalk done for this year, because talking $180,000, we can't really swing that.
Then we got the steps on the other side to deal with.
right?
Will we use the grant money or do it ourselves?
Did we get
Yeah, I
any
think-
estimates on how much it would cost to do the steps ourselves without waiting for the grant?
I think we should work on trying to get some of that in estimates.
It will help us make a better decision whether we want to wait to get that. Because right now we're only getting about 70,000. If we can do it a lot cheaper, it might make more sense to just go ahead and replace the steps.
Yeah.
Let's say we get the steps done for 40 grand. Is she gonna use some of that grant money, or are we just gonna pay the 40 grand?
We haven't got the grant yet.
No, he's referring to the CARES Act money, aren't you, Greg?
Yeah. Because that could go
Yeah.
under public safety if you, I mean, it's all cracked up. Sometimes we gotta maybe push some of these gray areas. A lot of other towns are doing the same thing. You know, how do you know if we don't try?
Well, there's only one caveat to that, and that is the fact that a lot of these cities are under the threshold of 750,000 for audit, so we're over that. So now we have the possibility, more likely we are going to be audited on that. So we got to really be
Watch.
careful. So
Well, I just think we gotta try, because all they can do is deny it.
yep. Well, it's something to look at anyway.
If you want somebody to go out and get bids, I can go get you some bids on it.
I'll talk to Tess and we'll get that.
Anything else?
Are you looking for?
If not, motion to adjourn.
No move.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second. Okay. Greg seconded. All right. Proceed with roll call.
All right, District 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5.
Yes.
Passes at 10:41.